Top analysts predict XRP could hit $38.00. That's the buzz from crypto bases. Let's be real. Plenty of analysts believe this target is achievable in the current market cycle. While I lean more on the conservative side of price predictions, I'll admit it's not entirely out of the question. If we see a massive influx of capital flooding the market far beyond what most are anticipating, things could get interesting. History has shown us that markets can defy expectations in dramatic ways, so while $38.00 isn't my base case, I won't rule out the possibility of XRP soaring into the 30s this cycle. Sure, talk about a $250,000 0 cents Bitcoin or $300,000 0 cents Bitcoin, and maybe even a $20,000 0 cents Ethereum. If those sky-high numbers actually happen, the idea of XRP reaching a similar league doesn't sound so far-fetched anymore. The real question is, will enough money pour into the crypto space to push prices that high? It all starts with Bitcoin leading the charge, as it always does. If Bitcoin soars to those heights and people start cashing out profits, what happens next? A good chunk of them might stay in the crypto ecosystem instead of retreating to fiat currency like US dollars. And where does that money go? Back into the market, into coins like XRP and other large cap tokens. That cycle fuels the growth. This isn't just speculation. It's how people act. So yeah, it's not a crazy thought. Let's call it intriguing. It's fun to consider, I'll admit. Let me know in the comments what you think the odds of this actually happening are. But first, I want to share a few things happening right now that should spark a bit of optimism. There's a lot falling into place so perfectly, it's almost uncanny. Before we dive deeper though, let me be clear, I'm not a financial guru. I have zero formal background in finance. This is not financial advice, and please don't make any buying or selling decisions based on what I say here. All right, it's Thursday, June 5th, 2025. XRP is sitting at $2.20 and Bitcoin's at a whopping $104,880. The market's showing a little red today, mostly moving sideways over the past 24 hours. We're essentially in a holding pattern, just waiting for a big market move. And trust me, it's coming sooner rather than later. Check out this post from Jurian Teemer, Director of Global Macro at Fidelity. And let's be real, Fidelity isn't just any institution. They manage a staggering $5 trillion 0 cents in assets. Safe to say they know how to pick sharp minds, and Jurian is no exception. He's the kind of guy you stop scrolling for. When his posts pop up in my feed, I hit pause and dive in. Today, he's sharing some fascinating insights on global equities. What really grabs attention in his chart is the orange line, global money supply in USD trillions. Jurian points out something big. Equities thrive on liquidity, and right now, the global money supply is hitting new highs, growing at an impressive 8% per year. All right, let's break this down. He's talking about equities markets, sure, but the same psychology drives both stock market investors and those diving into crypto. Humans are humans, right? So as the global money supply grows, what do you think happens? It's pretty clear people inevitably start pouring more into risk-on assets like crypto. There's a reason for this correlation, and it's not just random. Now, I know this isn't specifically global M2, but it's still about money supply on a global scale. Smart investors pay attention to these metrics. They don't just glance at them, they analyze them seriously. Why? Because this is a powerful indicator, one that gives you a clue about what's most likely to happen next. It's not foolproof, of course, but it's a key piece of the puzzle. No single metric is the ultimate answer when it comes to predictions or charts. There's always some uncertainty, but isn't it fascinating? It's hard to argue otherwise. Take a look at this. It's fascinating stuff. On your screen are a couple of posts from Raoul Pal, a former Goldman Sachs executive and the founder and CEO of Real Vision and Global Macro Investor. I often share insights from Raoul, and these posts caught my eye thanks to XRP community member and analyst Crypto Insight UK. Let's break it down. The top chart from Raoul shows two key trends. The black line is the US labor force participation rate, and the pink line represents US government debt as a percentage of GDP. Spot the relationship? Now look at the bottom chart. The black line here represents Fed net liquidity, while the pink line once again shows US government debt as a percentage of GDP. Notice something? The two charts are essentially the same, but inverted. Intriguing, isn't it? These two charts. Same data, just flipped. But why is that? Crypto Insight UK nails the explanation with a super simple breakdown that makes it crystal clear. Here's the scoop. Raoul Pal shared an incredible tweet on this. I have come across this topic before, but never explained this clearly. That's why I had to share the screenshot. It's mind-blowing. So here's the deal. The top chart shows the labor force shrinking, plain and simple. Meanwhile, the bottom chart reveals the Fed's liquidity rising to balance it out. As the labor force drops, the Fed pumps liquidity into the system. It's all about balance, and the inverted charts make that correlation impossible to miss. Cool, right? Here's something to think about. In the short term, crypto might be the answer, but the long game, it's a toss-up between a collapse or kicking the can down the road until we hit a productivity miracle, maybe through AI or a surprise population boom. Similar patterns happened post-World War, but remember, that war followed a massive depression. History rhymes, doesn't it? The end might be in sight, but we're likely talking years down the line. Buckle up. If this trend holds, we could be on the verge of crypto's biggest bull run yet. Wild, right? Here's the cycle. As US labor participation drops, the system tries to spark economic activity by printing more money. And where does that money go? Straight into risky assets, equities, the stock market, and of course, crypto. Now, one of the key points Ralph Paul has been hammering home for years, and let's face it, not enough people are talking about this, myself included, which is why I want to take a moment here, is that this trend isn't slowing down. The US labor force participation rate is on a steady decline, and there's no clear end in sight. When will it level off? Will it take a major event like a demographic shift or unexpected crisis? Nobody really knows. But for now, the trajectory is set, and the Fed will keep printing money. This is why having exposure to crypto, especially assets like XRP, is such a game changer. These are the early winners in the crypto space, and their potential gets stronger as time goes on. Fast forward a decade or two, and the trajectory is clear. Value goes up. Ralph Paul highlights this over and over. It's his core message. To un-F your financial future, as he puts it, you need to lean into crypto. Someone asked Ralph Paul an interesting question. Why not solve economic issues by creating a baby boom instead of just printing money? Massive incentives like free childcare, tax credits. Sounds like an idea, right? It's definitely a creative thought. Ralph Paul, however, had a simple and sharp reply. It has a 20-year lag to GDP growth. And he's right. Sure, those kinds of initiatives could be smart and might be worth having a serious national discussion about. But here's the catch. Even if we all agreed on it today, it wouldn't solve the immediate problem. Not even close. Why? Because babies don't contribute to GDP. They need to grow up first, get educated, enter the workforce, and only then start making an economic impact. That's the 20-year lag. So even if you hit the ground running with this idea right now, you're waiting a couple of decades to see the results. You see why Ralph Paul is emphasizing this, right? Let me just say it. Congrats on being in crypto, everyone. Seriously, give yourself a pat on the back because this cycle is shaping up to be absolutely massive. We're just getting started, folks. Check out this post from Crypto Wizard. It's about the total crypto market cap. Here's what's really interesting. Back in 2017, after breaking past the previous all-time high, the entire crypto market cap surged, pulled back to retest that level, which flipped from resistance to support, and then boom, it skyrocketed. If you're looking at the chart on your screen, you'll see exactly what I mean. This is where we are right now, retest and breakout confirmation. It's happening, and I'm not the only one pointing this out. Tons of analysts are saying the same thing. Take Mustache, for example. He's always posting similar charts, but this is the first time I've seen it from Crypto Wizard. Maybe he shared it before, maybe not. He's pointing out where we are now. Right here, on the brink of something big. Look at the peak from the last cycle, years ago. When we finally broke through, we slammed back down to test it as support because it was resistance before. Once that support held, we started to take off. Now think back to 2017 in a similar setup. Remember what happened? It absolutely exploded upward. So what's next, folks? That's the million-dollar question. This is why being part of XRP right now is so electrifying. The money is flowing, global liquidity is aligning, and we're positioned perfectly for what's coming. Ask any respected chart analyst. They'll tell you the same thing. Right now is a pivotal moment in crypto, and specifically XRP, after being held back for years, is finally breaking free. The breakout is underway. This one's a clear winner, is going to blow the roof off when the rally heats up. That's why the excitement is undeniable. XRP, absolutely. Being in crypto right now feels electric, but for XRP holders specifically, the potential is next level. Someone wrote it's 2017 again. They're calling it a bear market. Crazy, right? Laughing emoji. Most bulls think we're stuck in the 20182021 cycle, but nope, we're in 2017 territory. Called it all along. A massive breakout is on the horizon. Check out this post from chart analyst Tech Dev. Here's a look at the crypto total market cap, excluding Bitcoin. Here's the setup. Alts are primed and the clock's ticking. 4 years of buildup in the spring has never been wound this tight. Just look at this symmetrical triangle he's charted. Narrowing range, tightening up, inching closer to the apex. Now, check out those Bollinger Bands. Squeezing so tight, it's like they're holding their breath. So, what's next? Boom, that's what. Explosion, markets go wild. It's all lining up, and no matter how you slice it, the answer is simple yes. Here's a post from chart analyst Mustache. Altcoins. In my view, it's time to shift focus from Bitcoin to Ethereum and altcoins. The ETH/BTC pair on the higher time frame looks ready to pop. Any dip here? A golden buying opportunity. Parabolic season part 2 incoming this summer. Remember when everyone shouted Ethereum is dead a few months ago? I called it nonsense. Same with XRP back in 2024. People said it was finished. I argued otherwise. And guess what? Right when XRP was undervalued against the market and Bitcoin, boom, it skyrocketed. History repeats. Ethereum's up next. The Ethereum has already bounced back from its lows of $2,400 against the dollar, showing strong momentum. If you check out the ETH/BTC chart, it's also surging upward, looking primed for more gains, especially on the higher timeframes. Short-term dips might happen, but that's not the focus here. Why? Because historically, when Ethereum takes off, it sets the stage for alt season. XRP and other altcoins usually follow suit, which is why this shift is so exciting. Adding to the buzz, here's another important clue. Bitcoin dominance has been stuck in a massive ascending, broadening wedge for 2 years. A breakdown here could unleash a wave of growth for altcoins. This is the kind of setup that gets markets moving. Here's the thing, Bitcoin's price can keep climbing, no doubt about that, but let's shift gears to the dominance chart you're looking at right now. That's a different story. The dominance percentage could be on the verge of breaking down, and chart experts are pointing to this moment as the perfect time for it to happen. You know what that means? Altcoins are gearing up for a massive rally. Take Mikey Bill Crypto, a chart analyst who spotted the same pattern. Across 2 different posts, he's reached identical conclusions. Bitcoin dominance is weakening and altcoins are ready to pop. What's fascinating is how multiple analysts working separately are arriving at the same insights. Let's dive into Ethereum as an example. This is the Ethereum USD chart. Mikey notes that Ethereum is flirting with a breakout in its relative strength index, already breaking out of a downtrend. It's a strong signal. Ethereum looks like it's primed for action. In another post, he shared something intriguing. Bitcoin market cap dominance percentage. Turns out he reached the same conclusion as Mustache. And honestly, I'm seeing this pop up everywhere from countless analysts. His take? A breakdown of Bitcoin's dominance ascending wedge could ignite a massive altcoin rally. Let me be real, no one can predict the future with certainty. I'm not claiming to have all the answers here. But seriously, let's talk probabilities. What's the likely outcome? All signs point to one thing, alt season. These aren't just random guesses either. These analysts have solid track records. Some I've followed for years. Sure, no one's perfect, but their hit rates are impressive and they're all echoing the same idea. So what do you think happens next? Crypto Insight UK shared this. Ethereum, though different, mirrors Bitcoin and XRP in some key ways. It's also sitting on untapped liquidity below. Ethereum's open interest has been quietly climbing from the lows, picking up steam recently, while Bitcoin is heading in the opposite direction. Could this be the calm before the storm? And we might be looking at some explosive price moves for Ethereum if key levels start to break. Here's the kicker. I'm predicting a massive Ethereum short squeeze, an aggressive one, as soon as this accumulation phase wraps up. Picture this. Bitcoin dominance takes a nosedive, potentially sparking the long-awaited alt season. Could Ethereum be the catalyst that sets it all off? Interestingly, other analysts are spotting the same patterns with Ethereum. What's your take on this, folks? Does history ever stop rhyming? Come on, did anyone really think Ethereum was just going to crash to zero because it dipped to $1,400? That's nonsense. Of course not. Why? Because the fundamentals stayed solid. Nothing changed. If you want me to believe that after a decade, Ethereum is finally heading to zero, you better have a damn good explanation. What's the game changer here? If there isn't one, it's just human emotions running wild, the usual speculative frenzy. But we've seen it all before. Remember XRP last year? Same story, different day. Top analyst predicts a wild $38.00 price target for XRP. Here's why it might actually happen. Popular chart analyst Gert Van Lagen, with 118,000 followers on X, just dropped this bombshell. He's drawing parallels between recent market activity and the lead up to XRP's explosive 2017 rally. According to him, XRP is primed for a parabolic bull run after bouncing off the neckline of a 7-year-old double bottom / ascending triangle with a minimum target of $38.00. And here's the kicker. Last time a breakout like this happened, the price doubled its parabolic target. So yeah, conservative might be underselling it. Now, full disclosure, my gut is screaming that this is absolutely bonkers, but hey, I'm just a guy on the internet sharing opinions like everyone else. If I'm wrong and XRP rockets past this mark, you won't hear me complaining. I'll be here cheering you on as you cash in at those insane highs. No ego, no regrets, just me tipping my hat to your wins. I'm just being real with you here. Sure, it's possible for things to take off if we hit those higher numbers I mentioned earlier in the video, but I'm not holding my breath. I'm just not super confident we'll hit that mark. Now, if we're talking double-digit price action, honestly, it's hard to imagine we don't see at least that, right? I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but unless we're about to witness the most lackluster alt season in history, it seems unlikely we wouldn't. And honestly, it doesn't feel like that's where we're headed. From what I'm seeing from the analysts I follow, the consensus suggests this cycle might look more like 2017 than 2021. And let me just say, 2017 vibes, that's music to my ears. If you were there, you know it was intense, way more intense than 2021. So yeah, the idea of XRP hitting a new all-time high and entering price discovery, I'm all in on that. Double-digit price action, absolutely on board with that potential. Honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if that's where we're headed. The higher your prediction climbs, the more you lose me. And when you call an already sky-high prediction conservative, well, you've completely lost me. So how high are we talking for Bitcoin this cycle? 500,000 and XRP 38 feels conservative, then what, $80? Seriously, what are we even talking about here? Look, I do believe XRP has a shot at triple-digit prices someday, but let's be real. It's not happening anytime soon. Not this cycle, not even close. There's no way. But far, far in the future, the time I can't even begin to predict, sure, I can see it. If XRP keeps getting adopted globally, it's possible. There's enough money floating around this planet to push the price that high. So yeah, one day, maybe. But let's not get carried away just yet. If demand shoots up that high, then sure, it's possible. But honestly, I don't see it happening anytime soon. What do y'all think? I'm just trying to keep it real here. I love hearing different perspectives, even when I'm not fully convinced. Opposing viewpoints are great because they keep things interesting. It's fun to explore ideas, even the ones I'm not totally sold on. Look, I'm just one guy sharing thoughts. I could be way off. That's why I want to hear from you. Do you think $38.00 is a safe bet, or is it completely out there? To me, it feels super optimistic, maybe even a stretch. Sure, it could happen if things go completely wild, but I'm not holding my breath. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm an optimist at heart, and I truly believe this has the potential to change lives, not just for so many of you reading this, but for myself as well. I genuinely feel we're on the brink of something extraordinary, something life-changing that's just around the corner. Big things are coming, and I couldn't be more excited. Oh, and just a heads up, I'm not a financial advisor, so don't make any buying or selling decisions based on what I say. Seriously, that would be a terrible idea. Always do your own research.